Greetings, I'm Dike Rostant. Welcome back to the TTT News. With an opening like cash flow solutions for Caribbean creative sector, we were very enthused about and highly curious about the work of the C15 Studio. General Manager Lorraine O'Connor joins us for an in-depth conversation. Welcome, Mrs. O'Connor. Thank you so much for joining us. And past its formation in 2018, please and thanks for an overview of C15 Studio.
Right. Okay. Well, basically, it was founded in 2018, but really was kind of dormant. It did invest in Bazodi. I don't know if you remember that feature film with Marshall Montano, Kabir Bedi, and Natalie Pereira, where it was involved in the distribution and marketing of that film. So, but then, of course, with COVID coming, it kind of went underground. I say they were hibernating a bit until well, I took the helm in May 2021, and they were looking for somebody who had the experience in the creative sector, which of course, I have over 30 years of working in the Caribbean creative sector, more specifically in film and entertainment. And we really felt there was a good fit between my experience and what the people at Aspire. So behind C15 Studios is the Aspire Fund Management and KCL Capital Group. So these are already established financial services, venture capital, capitalists on playing in Trinidad and Tobago field, you know, and investing highly reputable and investing in more traditional industries such as, you know, construction, oil and gas, not really looking at the creative sector. As we know, a lot of financial people don't consider the creative sector. And this C15 Studios really is the brainchild of one of the directors, the CEO actually of Aspire, Mr. Kerwin Valley, who has a passion for the creative sector, but also more importantly, sees the viability and the possibility to make money from financing the creative sector. So this is where we're at. We're very young, if you want, in terms of what we have already established, because basically we've spent the last 8 months building our brand and kind of testing the terrain and seeing where best to start. And we have identified one area that we've started, which is the WeAccelerate program, where basically that is where we are offering the cash flow solutions to your company. So I'll take a breath and then we could go more into WeAccelerate a little bit.
Thank you so much. And even before we go into WeAccelerate, that overview is very informative in the sense that it makes me want to ask how much of it is art, how much of it is science in terms of getting these opportunities for the creative sector. If there wasn't that viability that was seen for the person for whom C15 Studio was the brainchild of, where would we be? I think recently Three Canal said that they owe a lot of what it is they're doing to someone with a name very much like yours, kind of pushing them in the direction and celebrating 25 years of Blue. But how much of it was the importance of that bridge between the resources and the creatives, especially when resources don't always see the creatives for what they can be?
Well, this is what is so exciting actually for me about this venture, because as Three Canal said, you know, 25 years, 30 years of working and being the one trying to find the financing to do all the projects and everything that we wanted to do, be it in music or in film or even in fashion, you know. So having the opportunity that actually to lead now an organization that's looking to invest in the creative sector is thrilling, and almost feels like this is what, you know, my life journey has brought me here at this time, because I also think the creative industry is the industry of the future. And even if you start to notice, other financial institutions are also starting to make overtures. I saw Unit Trust the other day had an event, you know, at Estate 101, where they were, you know, targeted to the creative sector. So I do think that the people are looking now at the creative sector as, you know, possible investment opportunities that maybe, you know, the oil and gas, the traditional industries, you know, you want to look outside the box. And I think that has a lot to do with although in the last couple of years, the creative sector suffered so much because we couldn't perform, we couldn't, you know, we couldn't be out there. There are still parts of the creative industry that made a lot of money. And, you know, analyzing that, realizing the streaming, the content, now the whole direction with the NFTs, you know, there's so many new formats, if you want, to appeal to the audience. And of course, my thrust in all of this is always the marketability of the project or the idea, because at the end of the day, we are content providers. I mean, the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago, we have so much wealth of content, but now are we getting it to the market? You know, how are we getting it to the market? And that is really important in the whole strategy that C15 Studios is about.
And I want to talk about that in just a bit, but I think this is the perfect timing in terms of you laying that groundwork and setting the context of the impact of the last few years to talk about C15 Studios Accelerate program.
Well, yeah, so what the Accelerate program offers is really an opportunity to fast track your cash flow. So I like to give a really specific example. You have a sponsor coming on board, you're putting on a show, or you're going to shoot a film, and you have a sponsor coming on board and saying, listen, I can give you $100,000, but I can't give it to you all at once. I'm going to give it to you over 4 months, 6 months. We will step in there and advance you the money against that commitment from your sponsor, or a pre-sale. It could be a purchase order. So if you're selling products, for example, beauty products, and you get an order from Excellent Stores, Pennywise, PriceSmart, you can then come to us. And these people don't usually pay upfront. They pay after delivery. Sometimes their terms are 30, 60 days. So that's where we'll step in and advance you that money for a small fee, of course, but it is very small in comparison. And what is interesting, it really gives you that cash now to go ahead and produce. So we've actually done it with a couple of people and seen how it has fast-tracked their business and allowed them to step up their game. So instead of maybe waiting 6 months, I mean, like a year to reach somewhere, there in 6 months, they were able to attain a certain level of productivity because of the Accelerate program. So, and we're doing this across the board. So C15 is 15 creative sectors across the Caribbean.
And that is something, and I want to get into those sectors in just a bit, please, in terms of laying it out, because sometimes when you hear creative sector, you may not go as wide as it seems you are doing at this point in time. But we speak about that when we return. We're speaking with the General Manager of C15 Studio, Lorraine O'Connor. Stay with us. We return with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with Lorraine O'Connor, General Manager for C15 Studios, looking at cash flow solutions for the Caribbean creative sector. And just before we took the break, you said 15 delineations across the creative sector. So what are some of those? Because we think, okay, this person is a musician, this person sings, this person does mass, but take us beyond that, Mrs. O'Connor.
Well, basically, C15, so the Creative 15 or the Caribbean Creative 15, if you want, and our logo symbolizes a link, you know, the link of the financial solutions coming to the creative sector. So we identified 15 sectors, albeit, and I want to say this, you know, this is not limited, like we can expand. So the sectors we identified so far go from animation, from the A all the way to wellness. And in between there's, of course, fashion, film, music, but there's also carnival arts, photography, architecture, visual arts, hospitality, you know, our cuisine, and of course, you know, events and technology, all the apps and all that. So many areas to look at, and we really want to be a Caribbean-wide company. I know it seems right now that, you know, there's a lot of focus on Trinidad and Tobago because that's our home base, right? Let's be real, that's our home base. So you always start there and then you branch out. So we're coming we're coming to the other islands. I am very keen to get requests from the other islands. So if there are, people listening who, want to contact us, please go to our website. We have a contact form, hello@c15studios.com. Send us an email and we set up meetings and we chat with you. And we always, even if right now, and this is so important, even if right now you may not be ready to receive financing, because that's also a whole preparation. Some people, their companies are not ready to receive financing. They have to put certain things in place because there's a certain amount of due diligence and structure that has to be put in place. Still, you can talk to us because we can give you ideas and encouragement and also guide you, who may be the best people to help you do that due diligence for your company.
And thank you for that, because that's something I wanted to ask. There are two trains of thought when you go to someone who is drafting. One person, they might tell them, okay, well, draft this for me, please. But you haven't given them everything that they need. And their response to you is, you've given me insufficient drafting instructions. Someone else may say, okay, well, these are the things that you need to work on. So do this and get back to me. Let us work from there. What are some of those other considerations that you would look at to say, okay, well, yes, I can work with this person at this time?
Well, I think what is important is to understand that okay, if it's a brand new idea or a brand new project, and this is the first time you are doing anything, you would want some kind of meters, some kind of metrics to actually say, okay, I've done something like this, or I've worked in this field already, and this is what I have achieved. I think it's important to show your achievements, even if it's not exactly in the same project area, but you want to show that you have some veritas, some legs, like you can. And also, I think what is very important is to show that you have considered your marketplace, show that you have studied who is going to like this, who's going to buy this, who's going to download this, so those are some of the considerations. Of course, showing that you already have some kind of financing in place is also very encouraging, because that shows that other people believe in it and you're trying to source additional financing to complete the project. So those might be some of the factors that we would look at to consider. But again, each project is viewed on its own merit and on its own needs. So there's no fast track formula, like this is how it has to be, because every business is different and every business has individuals who are different and who bring different skills.
And that difference to one company or their idiosyncrasy may be the pivotal thing about them that turns things on its head. But in terms of looking at those factors that you would have just outlined, that makes me want to ask, what are some of those qualities required for one to say, okay, well, yes, I think I'm on my way to becoming a successful entrepreneur?
Well, first of all, diligence, like hard work. Like you can't become successful if you don't work and make that commitment. It's a commitment. It's something that you have to do every day. And being your own boss, you work harder than if you go and work for somebody. Huh? This is real. I mean, I have done it for 30-something years, and you work harder for yourself because you setting your own bar and you want to succeed. And also, the passion, you have to be driven by a passion. There's a beautiful quote that says, work is love made visible, because you have to enjoy what you're doing, right? At the end of the day, other people will feed off of that if they feel that you're passionate for it. Another quality, super important, I believe in authenticity. You have to be authentic. Like, don't try and be somebody else. People pick up on that as well, So, I mean, those are some of the key areas. But I think if you have a passion, if you have a great idea, and if you put the work and effort behind it, you will succeed. It may take long. I mean, some people want short-term delivery, short-term success. It doesn't happen like that. And us elders, it doesn't happen like that. Short-term success lasts for short-term, but if you want long-term success, you have to be at it. You have to be diligent, you have to be committed, and you have to be passionate.
And in terms of that commitment, you are committed to getting the information out there. This is one of the platforms that you're using. We're thankfully being able to be facilitating this right now. But there is a show, I believe. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yes, so we actually have started a monthly show called the C15 Show, which I host. You know, interesting that now I'm normally I'm behind the camera. Now I'm getting these opportunities to be in front of the camera, and I embrace it because I think we have a lot to share, and I want to share my experience, and I want to share, you know, the knowledge that I have gained for the past 30 years working in this industry. So the show highlight certain aspects of C15, but also we bring on guests to talk about, you know, their experiences and how they use, you know, creative entrepreneurs and to encourage other creatives to become entrepreneurs. So our next show is next week on the 23rd of March, and we have Kevin Valley, who actually is going to talk about how to be investable, because this is the thing too. Creatives want people to invest in them, but investors need certain parameters in place. And so we want to guide them a little bit and show them what investors and financiers are looking for. And then our other guest, our second guest, is none other than Nyla Blackman, with who I work as in terms of her management team. And she would have just performed at South by Southwest. Actually, today there's a contingent of Trinidad and Tobago artists performing at South by Southwest, and we are very keen and eager to see, you know, the response and the results from that.
And definitely, in terms of the 1.5 minutes we have left, remind us how we can contact C15 Studio and what are some of those closing comments that you'd have for us. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to talk a bit about it. As you realize, I enjoy talking about C15 Studios and the possibilities that are there for the creative sector. This is the first organization of this type anyway in the South Caribbean. I do believe Jamaica might have these type of organizations, but we definitely, this is the first. And so we are also innovating along with you, the creatives. So, you know, at times we may take a little time to find the right model because we are learning to what would be best, because I'm telling you, we want to succeed. We want to show the world that, you know, investing in the creative industry, you can actually make a lot of money. So I think that would be my message. Creatives, don't give up on your dream. Come and see us, come and, you know, find ways to make this dream become a reality. And we at C15 Studios, we're here to support you. Come to our website, c15studios.com, send us an email, hello@c15studios.com, tune into our show. Actually, if you register in advance for the show next week, you can win a session with Kevin Valley. And I think that session is I would like to do that session, actually.
And definitely, we would have spoken with Kevin a little earlier, and I think he has a great deal to offer, as does the C15 Studio. We want to thank you so much, Lorraine O'Connor, General Manager of C15 Studio. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, this has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you for joining us.